Our story starts with Yoon Hae-jin, a talented dentist working at a Seoul hospital. After a heated argument with her senior doctor over patient ethics, she boldly quits her job. Her senior threatens that she'll never work anywhere else, but Hee-jin walks away with dignity. That evening, she treats herself to expensive new shoes and meets her friend for dinner. When her friend questions buying luxury items after losing her job, Hae-jin optimistically replies that good days are coming. They drink heavily, and the next morning brings consequences. Hae-jin wakes to find she's posted inflammatory comments about her senior in their professional group chat. Her attempts to delete them fail, and threatening messages follow. Her senior's revenge is effective. No hospital will hire her. On her mother's birthday, Hee-jin visits the seaside village of Gongjin. While taking a phone call from her father, her precious new shoes disappear. Enter Hong Do-sik, a sea diver who emerges from the ocean holding one of her shoes. He explains it landed on his boat, but knows nothing about its pair. With no other option, Hye-jin accepts his hotel toilet slippers as replacement footwear. Wearing these slippers, she encounters Pyo Mi-seon, a hotel owner who's surprised to see her establishment's shoes. Mi-seon invites Hye-jin inside, serves delicious seafood, and suggests she open a dental clinic in Gongjin, where no dentist currently practices. Hye-jin promises to consider it. Things worsen when her car won't start and her phone has no signal. Desperate for a bathroom, she enters a local cafe and orders coffee she doesn't enjoy. When trying to pay, her card fails and she has no cash. The owner holds her phone as collateral while she goes to the bank, but her card fails there too, due to system issues. The cafe owner's daughter suspects fraud, leading to an argument. Do-sik arrives and mediates the situation. He explains that a telecom fire has disrupted all services. When Hae-jin asks to borrow money, he refuses but offers her a chance to earn it. He takes her to the fish market, where she must clean fish to pay her debt. Despite never doing such work, she completes the task and earns enough to settle her bill. Do-sik checks her car and discovers tire problems, suggesting she stay overnight. After visiting the sauna and falling asleep eating rice cakes, she wakes to find Do-sik working there as a chef. The next morning, she sees him selling fish at the market. Everything about this multi-talented man intrigues her. Driving back to Seoul, Hye-jin receives another threatening call from her senior. Fed up, she declares she'll open her own clinic. She returns to Gongjin and tells Mi-seon her decision. Mi-seon excitedly offers to take her to a property agent, but must leave for urgent business, giving Hae-jin an address instead. At the agency, Hae-jin encounters Do-sik again. He's also a property agent. He shows her potential clinic locations, including one with an ocean view. Though the space seems small, she agrees to see a house to live in. She wants interior changes, and he arranges a contract signing with the owner, who turns out to be Mi-seon. Both women work as chefs, and Mi-seon explains she's offering the clinic space to benefit the community. After signing, Do-sik shows Hae-jin his business cards displaying his multiple skills. Impressed by his versatility, she hires him to renovate her house at a low cost. She returns to Seoul to collect her belongings and tells her friend about the clinic. Though her friend feels abandoned, they reconcile. Hee-jin moves to Gongjin, where villagers welcome her curiously. That evening, Do-sik visits to explain the house details and the door lock, which uses his birthday as the code. When Hye-jin tears up the paper, he reminds her she'll need it to change the code. She realizes he's 35, a year older than her. Their conversation reveals subtle attraction, though both try to maintain distance. The next day, Hye-jin encounters village women gossiping about her and Do-sik's relationship. At a village party, she inadvertently offends the store owner by suggesting her expensive shampoo wouldn't be available locally. The villagers perceive her as arrogant and begin leaving. Disaster strikes when Hae-jin accidentally activates a microphone while on the phone with her friend, broadcasting her complaints about the village to everyone at the party. Realizing what happened, she's met with angry stares. The villagers end the party immediately. Do-sik gently criticizes her behavior, but Hye-jin refuses to discuss it. Her friend Yoon arrives unexpectedly, having quit her own job after a fight with her boss. She offers to help at the clinic, bringing Hae-jin some comfort. On opening day, no patients came. The village boycott is complete. When Hae-jin finally understands the situation, Yoon angrily tells her to pack and leave. During an evening walk, Do-sik finds her and offers practical advice: apologize and integrate into the community. He helps her make rice cakes as peace offerings, but nobody accepts them. Do-sik finally tells her directly that she must apologize at the village meeting. Though reluctant, Hye-jin attends and genuinely apologizes. Do-sik arrives with snacks she supposedly brought, helping smooth the situation. The villagers accept her apology, but Do-sik hands her the bill for the snacks afterward. The next day, patients finally arrive, actually sent by Do-sik, who called in favors. Grateful, Hye-jin meets him at the seashore, where he sits reading on a mountain. When she struggles to climb into her shoes, he comes down to help her up. She nearly slips, and he catches her, their faces close together, hearts racing at the unexpected intimacy. Do-sik continues appearing in Hye-jin's life, delivering parcels as he works yet another job. She orders many dresses for her friend's wedding, giving him multiple delivery opportunities. He compliments her appearance each time, clearly smitten. When Hye-jin needs to attend the wedding, Do-sik asks if she can drive his grandmother and 2 other ladies to Seoul since his truck broke down. Though it makes her late, she agrees. Do-sik explains his concern for their safety, softening her anger. He accidentally leaves his phone in her car. At the wedding, Hye-jin's friends mock her village clinic. To save face, she exaggerates her success, making them jealous. Afterward, Do-sik appears, looking for his phone, having found the wedding address on an invitation in her car. When her friend photographs them together, Hye-jin worries about misunderstandings. Driving home, Hye-jin shows Do-sik her favorite Seoul locations, but he says he only feels happy in his village. He falls asleep during the drive, waking as they reach Gongjin. Hye-jin complains about driving alone while he slept, though he'd offered to drive earlier. Her friend posts their photo in a group chat, prompting comments about Hye-jin's cute boyfriend. Though Hye-jin clarifies they're not dating, she zooms in on the photo, admits he's cute, and smiles. Do-sik brings his grandmother for a dental checkup. Hye-jin recommends an expensive implant, but grandmother refuses, preferring tooth extraction despite the cost being no issue. Frustrated, Hye-jin questions whether she lacks money. Grandmother mentions owning village plots and her daughter having a good job, then leaves, upset. Do-sik returns, asking if the implant is truly necessary, and criticizing Hye-jin's directness. She explains that extraction would cause mouth wounds, defending her medical advice. He suggests better communication, but she angrily questions his authority as a non-guardian. Their argument ends with Do-sik leaving upset. His attempts to convince his grandmother fail, making her angrier. At the seashore, Do-sik asks Hye-jin to offer a discount, promising to pay the difference secretly. Hye-jin refuses to deceive her grandmother, arguing that if she stays healthy, her children will be happy. Otherwise, they'll never know that joy again. Her words, rooted in her own mother's death, deeply affect Do-sik. Grandmother's daughter dismisses the implant as too expensive during a phone call, hurting her feelings. Hye-jin visits again, shares dinner, and offers a genuine discount while swearing grandmother to secrecy. The next day, grandmother comes for treatment, pays in full, and later praises Hye-jin to Do-sik as tough outside but soft inside. When Hye-jin's house lights fail, Mi-seon sends Do-sik to help. He brings candles and discovers the problem lies with the power company, not the fuse box. While waiting for repairs, they share ice cream. As it melts, Do-sik wipes Hye-jin's hand with a tissue, their touch sparking mutual attraction. Before leaving, he texts her to check the fuse box. Inside, she discovers her missing dream shoe, perfectly dried. Overwhelmed with happiness, she rushes outside to ask where he found it, but he rides away without explaining. In flashback, we see Do-sik finding the shoe in the sea, researching drying methods online, and carefully preserving it before hiding it in her fuse box. A new patient named Toom arrives, speaking pleasantly during his examination. Hye-jin quotes treatment costs, and he agrees to return. At a village meeting she attends, hoping to see Do-sik, who arrives late. His singing performance impresses her deeply. Afterward, she pretends to be too drunk to walk home. Do-sik offers to help, carries her, but she drops her shoe deliberately. He catches her act, saying he knew she was awake all along. During Toom's next visit, Yoon performs his dental molding when he inappropriately touches her from behind. Hye-jin witnesses this and angrily threatens to file harassment charges. Toom becomes aggressive, and grandmother witnesses the confrontation. Toom calls the police with false accusations against Yoon. Enraged, Hye-jin punches him. Do-sik arrives and beats Toom unconscious, then also faints from exertion. Hye-jin collapses from shock as well. Police take Hye-jin and Do-sik to jail, while Toom goes to the hospital. Upon waking, he claims innocence. but the officer promises a thorough investigation. Hye-jin refuses to leave her cell until Toom is arrested. Yoon visits, and Hye-jin says she should have shared the burden earlier as friends. Grandmother arrives with Toom's phone, found at the clinic. Do-sik takes it to the Toom, threatening to expose incriminating evidence. He forces a confession, records it, and sends the video to authorities. Toom gets arrested, freeing Hye-jin and Do-sik. Grateful, Hye-jin brings gifts to Do-sik's house. He invites her inside, and she admires his home. He mentions his deceased parents and living alone. Over dinner and wine, Hye-jin gets drunk and shares that she has few memories of her mother, who brought her to this village before dying. Her mother's birthday was that special day. Fighting tears while talking about her mother, she claims her face feels hot from alcohol. Do-sik places his ice-cold hand on her face, and they gaze into each other's eyes with deep emotion. The next morning, Hye-jin wakes at Do-sik's house in his bed, realizing she spent the night after drinking too much. She hurries to leave, but a villager spots her exiting his home, spreading gossip immediately. At home, Yoon questions her, but Hye-jin says nothing, sitting stunned by the door. Do-sik wakes to find her umbrella and realizes she left it behind. Hye-jin regrets drinking so much, remembering she wandered village streets at night while Do-sik photographed her. She wonders how she ended up back at his house after leaving once before. At the clinic, Yoon suddenly has stomach pain, so Hye-jin goes alone. Villagers discuss her and Do-sik openly. When Do-sik returns her umbrella publicly, she invites him to breakfast. At the restaurant, she confronts him about that night, asking if anything happened between them. He explains she roamed outside while he watched TV, then fainted, so he brought her inside. He wipes food from her face with a tissue, an intimate gesture. Over coffee later, Hye-jin directly asks if he likes her. Do-sik deflects, but she lists all the ways he's always around, always helping, especially during the Toom incident. Hye-jin bluntly states they can't have a relationship because she's an educated doctor while he's just an ordinary village accountant. Hurt, Do-sik leaves, upset. Yoon later tells Hye-jin that Do-sik was a university gold medalist. Shocked, Hye-jin learns nobody knows what he did for 5 years after graduation. Rumors range from being a spy to murdering someone and serving jail time. When Hye-jin asks if she or Do-sik is better, Yoon says, "Love doesn't work that way. Sincerity matters most." A flashback reveals Hye-jin's medical school friendship with Jeong, whom she once overheard mocking her at a bar, deeply hurting her. Do-sik photographs at the seaside when he spots someone near the lighthouse about to fall. He races over and saves Jeong, Hye-jin's former classmate. They bond over cameras, and Do-sik shows him beautiful village locations. At the village school, Do-sik helps Hye-jin with a dental education program. A child asks if they're dating, shocking both. Afterward, Hye-jin takes Do-sik to lunch outside the village and apologizes for her previous comments. She asks him to solve questions, which he completes easily. Despite his intelligence, she questions why he wastes time in the village. Do-sik responds that money and success aren't everything. The peace from helping others is life's greatest blessing. After lunch, the rain begins. Do-sik takes her to the beach, where they play in the water joyfully. Suddenly, Do-sik touches her face, triggering Hye-jin's memory of their kiss that night. She confronts him, but he lies, claiming nothing happened. Confused why he's hiding it, she gets upset and leaves. Hye-jin tells Yoon everything about the kiss, saying she remembers, but Do-sik won't admit it. She decides to let herself be attracted to him. Do-sik, meanwhile, has loved her for a long time, but wanted to stay away due to psychological issues. At the cafe, Hye-jin rudely refuses coffee from Do-sik, hurting his feelings. He thinks she's acting this way because she remembered that night. Later, he comes to her clinic requesting an examination. Finding nothing wrong, she's confused when he says the problem is their relationship. Do-sik tells her to forget that night, saying such things are common in cities but serious here, and since she was drunk, she shouldn't have issues. Offended, Hye-jin calls Yoon to treat him. He receives a call for a village tour and leaves. Hye-jin finds a photo of Do-sik with a girl, which makes her smile. Villagers gossip about them being together all day. At grandmother's house, Do-sik finds someone inside. It's Jeong, who entered without permission because he loves the house. Grandmother had been hitting him, thinking he was a thief. She feeds him afterward. A village meeting discusses an upcoming Lighthouse singing competition with prize money. On competition day, everyone performs, including the grandmother. Do-sik notices Juri, the cafe owner's nervous daughter. When she freezes on stage, Hee-jin and Do-sik join her, dancing while she sings. Everyone enjoys their performance. Young Bora wins first prize with her amazing voice, while Jury gets second. Walking home, Do-sik follows Hee-jin. When she questions him, he says he's just heading home too. They stop to watch fireworks, Do-sik focusing on Hee-jin's smiling face. Someone bumps Do-sik, and Jeong steadies him, making Hee-jin happy. At a fish restaurant, they introduce Jeong, discussing his food variety show. Everyone gives him special attention. When Hee-jin and Jeong leave together, Do-sik follows, claiming Jeong might get lost. He invites Jeong for drinks, which makes Hee-jin stop and come to his house too. While Jeong uses the bathroom, Hee-jin confronts Do-sik, asking why he invited Jeong alone and warning him not to mention that night. They argue until Jeong returns. After drinking and playing games, both men fall asleep drunk. Hee-jin sleeps there too. In the morning, a villager sees her leaving, and Jeong asks for her contact number. Do-sik follows Jeong outside as he wakes, giving the villager more gossip material. Jeong introduces his show team to Do-sik, who guides them around the village. Jing brings many gifts to his grandmother's house. She assumes he wants to rent it, but he explains he decided against filming there after her refusal. Grandmother accepts the gifts anyway. Jeong's devoted service makes her very happy. Hye-jin finds her grandmother's wallet at her clinic and returns it. Do-sik is washing his grandmother's blanket and asks for help. While washing together in a tub, they argue about dirty water. Hye-jin's head bumps Do-sik's chest, making her remember taking drunk Do-sik inside that night. She stays close to his chest so he remembers too. Do-sik says her body is like a weapon that keeps hurting him. Grandmother smiles, watching their fight. After washing, she offers snacks. Jeong arrives with cake, revealing he's been helping his grandmother frequently. Do-sik feels jealous. After dinner, Jeong washes all the dishes while grandmother happily reflects that these people care for her more than her own children. The next morning, she tells Do-sik to rent the house to Jeong. Do-sik arranges a 1-month contract. Jeong asks if Hye-jin has a boyfriend. When Do-sik says no, Jeong becomes happy, thinking he can get closer to her. Do-sik grows increasingly jealous, remembering when drunk, Hye-jin promised never to be far from him. After sea surfing, Do-sik brings Jeong to dinner, but initially refuses to join. Hearing Hye-jin's voice, he returns. The three dine together, with Hye-jin sitting beside Do-sik, making him happy. When she reminisces about college with Jeong and smiles, Do-sik jealously spills hot tea on Jeong, apologizing as if accidental. At the supermarket, Do-sik notices bruises on Hye-jin's neck, a medical condition. He watches as she removes her hair tie to hide them, momentarily frozen by her beauty. Later, he makes medicine for her condition and leaves it at her door before seeing her arrive with Jeong, both smiling. Sad, he leaves the bag and goes home. At home, Hye-jin discovers Do-sik's medicine and calls to thank him, but he's too sick to answer his distant phone. During Jeong's show shooting, Do-sik works despite feeling unwell. Jeong suggests rest, but Do-sik insists he's fine. Hye-jin sees a lady giving savings to a scammer. When she tries to stop him, the thief runs. Hye-jin chases him, and Do-sik and Jeong join from another direction. Do-sik catches him, but gets injured recovering the money. Hye-jin returns it to the lady, warning her to be careful. She asks about Do-sik's condition, but he leaves, wanting to give them alone time, since he thinks they're a perfect match. That evening, Hye-jin visits his house, applies ointment to his arm, lays him on the sofa, and makes porridge. Finding him asleep, she leaves a note. She remembers Yoon's words about Do-sik being good, and almost kisses him, but stops, scolds herself, and leaves. After she goes, Do-sik wakes, reads her note, and enjoys the delicious porridge. Everyone gathers at grandmother's house to watch the show shooting. Not seeing Hye-jin, Do-sik goes to the clinic, but she's already left. Walking home on her dark street where the light is broken, her phone dies. Hye-jin feels someone following her. Looking back, she sees nothing in the darkness. Her phone falls when she tries turning it on. Hearing approaching footsteps, she runs terrified. Ahead, she sees Do-sik and rushes to hug him tightly. Though initially confused, he realizes she's scared, though he doesn't understand why. Then he remembers the moment when Hye-jin almost kissed him. His eyes had opened, feeling everything before she stopped herself and ran away. Someone returns her phone, and she goes inside. That night, neither can sleep, both thinking of each other and exercising to distract themselves. Hye-jin's father comes to surprise her, Doo-sik helps them refuel, commenting that they probably don't know how to use the machines. Her father dislikes this remark. Meanwhile, the lady Hye-jin helped tell her she saw them hugging, but won't tell anyone. Her father and stepmother arrive just then, their surprise visit now surprising them. At Hye-jin's house, they see Doo-sik again. She claims she called him to fix the water pipe. When they ask about him being the man she hugged, Doo-sik accidentally says he's her boyfriend to protect her reputation. Everyone is shocked. Doo-sik takes Hye-jin aside, explaining he's pretending to be her boyfriend and she can pay him for it. She agrees. Her father interviews Doo-sik seriously, but worries upon learning he has no permanent job. Hye-jin defends him, saying he's handsome and takes great care of her, which is enough. Doo-sik tells villagers through group chat to praise him when meeting her parents. At grandmother's house, they encounter Jeong. Her father is impressed, knowing him as a famous director and learning he's Hye-jin's classmate. During their meal, it seems her father wishes Jeong were his son-in-law. Doo-sik makes great efforts to impress her father. At the clinic, her father asks about Jeong's girlfriend, clearly liking him. When Doo-sik enters, the mood changes. They discuss plants, revealing Doo-sik's extensive knowledge. At a restaurant, they play games. Doo-sik gradually impresses her father, even hand-feeding him after he loses a game. Her father asks about Doo-sik's family. Worried this might hurt him, Hye-jin calls it private, but Doo-sik admits his parents passed away. This silences her father, who later tells Hye-jin to break up with Doo-sik because no parent wants their daughter with an orphan. Hye-jin angrily responds that her mother also passed away, and children aren't at fault for their parents' deaths. Her father leaves upset, while Doo-sik overhears everything. He follows, and later her father apologizes, explaining they neglected Hye-jin after her mother's death. He wants her to marry into a large family, so she never feels alone. He asks Doo-sik how much he loves Hye-jin. Doo-sik tells the truth. He likes her as a friend, not as a boyfriend, wishing she finds someone good. Her father is shocked, suggesting that the person could be Doo-sik himself. Hye-jin doesn't yet know that Doo-sik revealed everything. Jeong, heading to Seoul, changes his mind and decides to confess his feelings to Hye-jin immediately. Doo-sik, thinking about her father's words, also decides to confess and heads to her house. Hye-jin, walking home, notices the fixed streetlight and happily thinks Doo-sik must have repaired it. Entering her house, she finds a man with a knife waiting. Terrified, she tries calling someone behind her back, but he strikes her hand, making the phone fall. He moves to disable the security alarm, but Doo-sik grabs his hand, drags him inside, and beats him. When Doo-sik checks on Hye-jin, the man attacks him with the knife. They fight until the police arrive. Hye-jin faints seeing Doo-sik injured. Jeong, seeing the police outside, asks people about them. At the hospital, Hye-jin sees that Doo-sik is okay, and tearfully says, "What if something had happened to him?" He holds her hand consolingly. Noticing her injured hand, he asks why she didn't get it bandaged. Jeong arrives, sees their hands together, and thanks Doo-sik for saving her. Hye-jin asks why he didn't go to Seoul. He lies about forgetting medicine in the village. The doctor asks Jeong to leave to avoid crowding the patient. After discharge, Doo-sik asks where Hye-jin will stay since her house is in police custody. Doo-sik takes her to his house, saying to consider it her home. She needs clothes to change into. He offers to get them from her house, but she refuses, so he gives her his clothes. When she emerges wearing them, he smiles. He makes tea while she sits, her feet falling asleep. Doo-sik massages them. Her stomach growls with hunger, so he cooks for her. After eating, he shows her the bedroom, but outside, noises scare her. He says he's right there and she should sleep, but she grabs his shirt. He takes her to the hall, telling her to sleep on the sofa while he reads her a book, making her fall asleep. He then sleeps on the floor. The next day, he takes her to the clinic. Later, it's Doo-sik's grandfather's death anniversary. Hye-jin buys lots of food and brings it to his house. Mi-seon and other villagers also bring food. Doo-sik thanks everyone. Doo-sik prepares for the anniversary, arranging food on the table. He sets a place for Hye-jin, and they dine together. She cuts food and serves him, making him say she's the first person in his life to do this. Hye-jin slips, saying only someone in love would do this. To change the subject, she explains it's because his arm was injured saving her. Finishing quickly, she prepares to leave, thinking what just slipped from her mouth, an indirect love confession. Doo-sik offers to drop her home, but she insists on going alone. Outside, Jeong waits for her. They go eat, though she's not hungry. Jeong starts confessing but gets confused, finally saying he likes her. Shocked, Hye-jin says she'll think about it and starts eating. Do-sik talks to his grandfather about Hye-jin, saying she's nice, a little foolish, but when with her, he doesn't feel alone. Hye-jin and Yoon decide to shop in Seoul. Hye-jin remembers she left a machine unplugged. Yoon calls Do-sik to turn it off. At her house, he's surprised by the messy room, but finds the machine already unplugged. Realizing it's a joke, he says he's wasted his time. While leaving, he notices a picture and stops to look. In Seoul, Hye-jin shops choosing a shirt for Do-sik. Grandmother tells Do-sik she knows he likes Hye-jin, encouraging him to tell her before it's too late. After lunch, they plan to visit the spa, but it's raining. Hye-jin suggests enjoying the rain, though Yoon refuses. Hye-jin runs to the car in the rain, remembering the moment she enjoyed the rain with Do-sik. She decides to tell Do-sik everything, and leaves for the village. At his house, he's not there. She sees him at the lighthouse and calls out while approaching. She tells him she's fallen in love with him. He's shocked. She explains that despite their different thinking, she still feels this way. Do-sik is about to say he likes her too, but she places her hand over his mouth, saying he doesn't need to respond. She just needed to express her feelings. If he doesn't like her, he shouldn't say anything. These are her feelings. Do-sik moves her hand and says he loves her too. They kiss. In flashback, Do-sik had seen Hye-jin's childhood photo at her house, one his grandfather took when she was a child. He realized Hye-jin is his childhood love, and his heart grew even more attached. After the kiss, Hye-jin asks what they should do next. Do-sik holds her hand, saying, "Now they do this," and takes her home. Hye-jin tells him about Jeong's proposal, and says for now, they won't officially announce their relationship. Do-sik says he could tell from the first day that Jeong liked her. Hye-jin reveals that on his grandfather's death anniversary, Jeong proposed, but she didn't answer. They decide to keep their relationship hidden temporarily. At home, Hye-jin calls Do-sik again. He mentions her childhood photo, reminding her that his grandfather took it. There was a child there then. That was him, and he was the one who paid for her juice when she came to the village after fighting with her dad in 10th grade. The next day, Hye-jin meets Jeong to thank him for supporting her during college, but says she now likes someone else. Jeong replies there's no problem. He's happy the girl in his life is someone everyone likes. Do-sik visits and asks about the meeting. Hye-jin says Jeong didn't react much. Do-sik suggests announcing their relationship, but Hye-jin refuses, worried about village gossip. He points out that people here have little else to discuss besides her. She insists on hiding it. He says it's a small village where secrets don't last, but he'll try his best. They start practicing as a couple, figuring out how to handle everything. When Yoon returns and sees Hye-jin's head on Duke's shoulder, she's embarrassed and tells them to lock the door next time. They agree. At the cafe, Hye-jin orders Do-sik coffee. He invites her to stand with him while making her favorite coffee. While using a beater, cream spills on his face. Hye-jin starts cleaning it when the cafe owner arrives. Seeing this, Hye-jin slaps Do-sik's face and scolds him before leaving. Later, Do-sik delivers Chinese food to Hye-jin's house. She apologizes for the slap, explaining she worried the cafe owner would discover their relationship. While massaging his face, Do-sik jokes that she slapped the wrong side. As she massages the other side, they hear footsteps. The restaurant owner arrives. Hye-jin steps on her own foot, screaming. The lady asks what happened. Hye-jin complains about missing fries. The lady says she brought them herself. Do-sik sits in the supermarket thinking Hye-jin will take his life with all her hitting. She texts asking his location. He tells her, but asks her not to come. She goes anyway. He tells her to stay away, but she wants an official date on the weekend. They discuss what couples do when they're standing close, and the market owner arrives. Hye-jin hits Do-sik's nose with her head, making it bleed. She apologizes and leaves. Back at the clinic, she sends many apologetic texts, but he doesn't reply. After work, she goes to his house. He's not home, so she waits, looking at his pictures. Hearing someone outside, she hides. Do-sik brings his grandmother and two other ladies inside for a party. Seeing someone's presence, he tells them to wait outside and goes in. He notices Hye-jin's shoes and hides them. The ladies follow him inside. He searches everywhere for Hye-jin, while they follow suspiciously. Finding nothing, their suspicion fades. Do-sik gives them scented candles and tells them to enjoy themselves. Later, he opens his room safe where Hye-jin is standing. He tells her to call before coming. She says she sent many messages, but he left his phone somewhere. When Hye-jin steps out, her legs are numb from standing. Do-sik picks her up. She says she doesn't like being ignored and doesn't want secrets between them. Do-sik receives a call from Yoon and they separate. As Hong-do leaves, villagers approach and scold him for hitting Hong-do all morning. They decide to keep the couple apart. In the morning, Hyejin tries to meet Hong-do at the cafe, but the owner blocks her. She orders Chinese food, hoping he'll deliver. But the restaurant lady comes instead, making Hyejin sad. Hong-do calls from another number, telling her everyone will be at the meeting hall in the evening so they can meet. She becomes happy. That evening, both get ready. Hong-do makes an excuse about feeling unwell to skip the meeting. They meet at the beach, embracing and promising never to be apart. Suddenly, all the villagers arrive. Hong-do asks if they saw everything. They confirm, yes. He tries explaining that hugging is common in cities. Hyejin adds that she was thanking him. But then Hyejin announces, "We are in a relationship." Hong-do reminds her that they agreed to hide it. She replies, "Now, there's no need. I want to announce we're dating." Everyone becomes happy, revealing they knew for 2 days. The market owner explains, "You left your phone at the shop. We saw Hyejin's messages and planned to expose you." The villagers give their blessings. Hyejin and Hong-do are relieved they no longer need to hide. Next, Hong-do has severe nightmares. Hyejin sits beside him, waking him up. He hugs her, saying he had a bad dream. She consoles him. It's 4:30 a.m. She wanted to watch the sunrise. They go to the beach, but miss it. That night, Hyejin waits at his house, asking him to shower because she wants to do something with him. He quickly showers, but she asks him to do yoga. After practicing, they call each other cute dogs and cats, kissing each other's dimples. Before kissing properly, she mentions not brushing her teeth. They brush each other's teeth together and take many pictures. Hyejin meets Ji-seong, who tells her to take care. That night, Hong-do announces that Ji-seong's last show needs 4 village participants. After drawing lots, 4 are selected. They perform at their grandmother's house in unusual ways. After shooting, Hong-do meets Hyejin, hugging and kissing. She invites him over, but he says Ji-seong's team is there. She asks him to take care of Ji-seong, who looked weak, and to feed him drumsticks. Hong-do becomes jealous and leaves, upset. At the cafe party, the owner brings chicken. Hong-do picks up a drumstick, denying it to Ji-seong. But Ji-seong remembers Hyejin's words and takes them, eating 2 drumsticks. Later, Ji-seong asks about his behavior. Hong-do admits to jealousy. Ji-seong replies, "You should feel sorry for me because you have Hyejin. You're very lucky." Hong-do realizes Hyejin meant it as friendship. He goes to Hyejin, apologizing. The next day, they go on a date. Hong-do compliments her beauty. At the market, Hyejin buys him a dress as a birthday gift. Then she picks an expensive necklace. Hearing the price, Hong-do asks if it's a real diamond. She replies that she doesn't like fake things. He becomes silent. At dinner, she notices his mood. He drops her home. In the morning, Hong-do replies to only one of many messages. Hyejin thinks he's upset about the necklace. That night, she visits his house. He shows her a place he created all day, explaining why he didn't answer texts. She thought he was upset about the necklace. He says why would he be? She bought it with her money. He gives her a jewelry box for the necklace. She reveals she sold it online. He says, then there's no point. She replies that the box is more precious than the necklace. They confess and kiss. On Hong-do's birthday, Hyejin makes soup. At his house, everyone celebrates. He cuts the cake. When Hyejin goes inside, Hong-do notices her mug. She brought his favorite soup, but says it's not needed since he had drinks. He insists she made it with love. He tastes it, too much salt, but praises it, drinking happily. When she wants to taste it, he refuses, not wanting her to know it wasn't good. Mi-seon sees them and leaves smiling. Everyone departs. Hyejin hugs Hong-do, wishing happy birthday, and they talk. Hyejin's colleague visits. At the cafe, she's shocked to see handsome Hong-do. She thought the village guys were old-fashioned. At the golf club, Hong-do's impressive shots amaze her. Hyejin proudly says he graduated from a prestigious university. Leaving, the colleague says he's mysterious. Why live here with such education? He must have a dark past. Hyejin asks Hong-do about his past and the 5 years after graduation. He only says he worked at a company. After she leaves, he opens his wardrobe, seeing a black suit that brings memories of a kind couple. Hyejin again asks about his past, but he doesn't answer. She leaves upset. Later, Jum Cheol's wife visits, meeting Ji-seong. She mentions someone close to her lived here, clearly meaning Hong-do, without naming him. Hongdu calls Hye-jin to meet. She says, "I won't break up with you, but until you tell your secret, I won't meet you." He understands. Ji-sung learns about their fight and tells Hongdu he shouldn't do this. Hongdu says, "I don't deserve her. I'm not open like you. I have many secrets." Ji-sung says she chose him for a reason, so he should tell everything. Hongdu fears she'll hate him after knowing the truth. Ji-seong assures that it won't happen. Hye-jin receives a parcel from her dad. She calls, asking why he sent so much food. He says share it with Hongdu, and the plant using Hongdu's method is growing well. Bring him home sometime. Hye-jin remembers Mi-seon's words that she can know Hongdu's secrets. She decides to talk to him again. Hongdu looks at a picture he never told Hye-jin about. In flashback, the man is his friend Geum-cheol. They had a strong friendship. Geum-cheol's company helped Hongdu get a job. They bought him expensive interview clothes. The three were very close. Another flashback shows Geum-cheol's wife telling Hongdu, "Your actions caused his death. You should have died instead. Bring my husband back." Hongdu cries profusely. In the present, Hye-jin comes, giving him things, saying, "I will wait for you." Her friend mentions applying for a job for her. Ji-sung holds a party after the show ends. Hongdu tells Hye-jin he needs to tell her something. He takes her outside, asking if she'll come to his place tonight to hear his story. She agrees. Hongdu explains. A co-worker lost all his investment despite Hongdu's warning not to invest. The worker called Hongdu to the hospital. Geum-cheol went with him. While driving, they had an accident. Geum-cheol died on the spot. That's why his wife blamed Hongdu. Hongdu wears the suit Geum-cheol bought. They visit Geum-cheol's grave, meeting his wife. She tells Hongdu she's learned to live and realized the accident wasn't his fault. Hongdu says that after Geum-cheol's death, he tried suicide, but his grandmother's message made him return to the village. Hongdu and Hye-jin learn about grandmother's death. At her funeral, Hongdu says her wish was for everyone to see her off happily without crying. He finds her letter, "I trust you completely. You can't go wrong. To me, you're like my son. That's how I lived a long and healthy life. I wish you could live such a life too." Reading this, Hongdu cries. Hye-jin consoles him. She mentions getting a job offer in Seoul. He says that's what she always wanted. She replies, "I wanted that, but not anymore. Now I want to stay with you and this village." Hye-jin goes to Seoul to meet her family. These days are difficult for Hongdu, missing her terribly. When she returns, he runs and hugs her. Hye-jin decides to marry Hongdu. At the beach, she recalls their moments together, saying, "I want our 2 pairs of shoes always outside my house for the rest of our lives." She proposes, "Will you marry me?" Hongdu is speechless, shocking Hye-jin. He says, "I wanted to propose to you." He proposes with an expensive necklace. They kiss. Her shoe flies off into the water. They retrieve it, both getting soaked. That evening, they talk and grow closer. In the morning, Hongdu makes breakfast, saying they have a cleaning duty. Outside, the entire village is cleaning. Hye-jin announces they're getting married. Everyone becomes happy. Finally, we see their wedding scene where Hye-jin is dressed as a bride and Hongdu as the groom.